the first thing that I would like to talk about is, in general, on RFQs, to make this process a lot faster for us, we sometimes get requests that are a little vague, and with that, you end up making more prototypes than you need to. And if you could just have something a little bit more specific or something that shows us what we need to get to the end user, it would be a little easier. And my suggestion for this would just be pictures and sketches. We don't care how bad they are. We're not going to make fun of you. And it's just a lot easier for us to do it. And I grabbed this for an example. So if we get this in, and you say you want a pocket like this on this panel, we won't know, which direction you want it facing. And it could potentially lead to a whole other prototype being made just because it's not there and it's not in the right orientation. And, sometimes we can follow up with you and ask questions, but that leads to time and waiting and just an extension of the process when it could really be done a lot faster. So that's my first thing. I think that pictures and drawings would definitely be a big help, and I know some of you do, and they're great. But more of that leads to easier, faster, better on our
Okay,
end.
so what I hear you saying is, first, that we need to get you all the information that you need, anything that we can do, even if the sketch doesn't look great,
Right.
even if the information isn't 100%, the way that if we don't have all the answers, we should give you whatever we do know,
Right.
as complete and as visualized as possible.
Right.
So that you can start on the project and you don't have to come back and try and fill in that information or guess at it 3 different ways.
Right. Those two things hand in hand do big good things.
And so on a scale of 1 to 10, how big a deal is that?
I think it's a very, very big deal. I'm going to go ahead and say at like an 8 or a 9, just because of if you do implement those things, you will save a ton of time and a ton of extra effort that doesn't necessarily need to go in.
Okay. All right. So what's the second thing?
Okay. The second thing I'd like to talk about is provided tools that the company gives to you guys, because I've had this pop up a couple of times within working with you guys. And what will happen is, so you guys are able to view die lines and understand the general layout of a box and how big it is and on a sheet of paper. And with that, sometimes we'll get requests in to make boxes bigger, where if you saw the die line from the original, before you went and do that, you would know that it was going to make it into 2 or even 3 dies just because you're pushing something beyond its limit. And with that, I've seen myself go, oh, hey, this is going to be 2 dies, and it changes everything, and you don't want to do it anymore because it adds a lot of cost.
Excellent. So we got 2. What's another thing?
Okay, one last thing, I guess, that I'd like to touch on is the way that we work with each other. It sometimes seems like we can't work as a team, and we really need to push that. It's a big thing, making the customer happy for you guys. And on our end, our big thing is getting something to run properly through manufacturing. And what we need to do is make that a whole working together like a machine. It needs to be smooth, it needs to be solid so that the customer can get a quality product, and that's good for you guys and that's good for us. So I've found that there's too much sometimes emotion that's put into defending the customer's design versus our design. And I also have found that sometimes when we're given a list of, the customer wants A, B, C, and D, and we, know and come up with a design that addresses those issues, that sometimes the salesperson doesn't like it. So it's not going to get to the customer or, anything along those lines. And I understand that you guys know what the customer wants, but sometimes there's things that the customer doesn't think about. And therefore, it's kind of unfair to us to create something that will work really well, and it just doesn't go anywhere. And with that, I'd like to go into the 3D PDFs that we can do through our CAD program. So, like, I want to show this because, so you've got a box like this, you know, in this particular one, I did 5 or 6 different variations of it. And it was just, this goes here, 3 or 2, you know, different style of the pocket. And if the customer really can't decide what he really wants, the fastest and easiest way for us to do this would be to go through the CAD system and make all those models in a 3D PDF, so you can move it around and you can look and you can see the layout of the box and see if that's what you actually want. It saves a lot more time and a lot more energy, and you could get it same day instead of waiting 4 or 5 days to make 4 or 5 of these things. You know, so it's just a utility that we have to us that's just not used as much as it could be to get the customer faster, quicker, and easier results. You know, that's something that I really want to push. Do this. And that's it.
Thank you,
You're
Rachel.
welcome.
We are going to help you any way we can. Thanks
Great.
for your ideas.
For everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.